night again in that King City house where someone hung themselves. And it was just we had so many, like, I guess you would say, spooky paranormal experiences. We had a power outage for I think over a night, and I think the power outage actually had to do with my parents not paying the electricity bill, but let's just assume it's a power outage right now. um and I was left with my dad, and we had like these, like, I'm not gonna go into depth, I guess, but we had the fireplace running. It was me and him in the living room, and he was asleep, as most dads do, because they wake up early and they just fall asleep on the sofa at 6 p.m. Casuals. Happy Father's Day. And so that was happening, and it was just me, and the fireplace was running. And I remember that I was looking at the fireplace as a kid. I was eating some like noodles, and I was just looking at it, and I was like, the fire looks so weird. And I was like staring at it, and it almost to me resembled like a skull, where it was kind of like inflamed. Skull appeared like almost like an image. And I knew I was kind of like making it in my head, trying to make it look like a skull, because I was like, oh, it looks like a skull, and I just like focused on it, make it look like a skull. And I remember that I was at one point like, oh my god, that actually does look like a skull, and it just like kind of like wafted and like went to like a solid, like a very dim flame, and like the room started to get like very dark from that. And this is the same room that was like open concept, glass windows, you can peer outside into the darkness, it's just forest. And I was like, I almost felt like something was with me. I was like, yo, like, it's not just my dad and I in this room. Like, and I remember like my thing as a kid was like, yo, like, I'm just gonna cuddle with my dad. It's gonna be safe this way, right? Like, it's the best thing I
Wait,
can
you
do.
still don't do that?
But I remember like I was like waking him up. I'm like, dad, like, let's go to bed. Like, let's go to bed. I remember like I was like legit vigorously shaking him, and he was not waking up. And I was like, this is so weird. My dad would wake up from this. And I remember doing that, like I was shaking him, and same thing. I heard like a like behind me, and I was like,
No.
and I remember because I started like almost crying, and I was like, dad. Like I was like shaking him. He's like, what? And I remember he's like, are you okay? Who's that? And he's like, oh, like never mind. And I was like, don't, like, why would you say who is that? Like that made things like 20 times worse. And I think like 20 minutes later, like my brother and my mom came home, and then like power came back, etc. And I remember like that whole night, like I just felt weird. I felt like something was with us. I felt like we weren't alone. My brother and I had our room as an attic, so my dad like customized the entire attic of the room, fully furnished it. We had a bunk bed. We had like this legit, like, massive attic with a projector, TV, all this good stuff. My dad hooked us up. It was solid. Went upstairs. My brother went to bed, and I was playing like Crash Bandicoot on like the projector TV. Dumbass me, when you turn off the console first rather than TV back in the day on channel 4,
Yes.
it would create this loud static noise, and you'd hear that,
Yeah.
you'd see that static TV. So I did that. I was like ready to go to bed, turned off the like the PlayStation 1. I did that. Instantly, loud static comes from the TV, like loud as fuck, boy. And like, as a kid, like, that's scary alone in like pitch dark in an attic. You hear a static TV. And I remember I'm like, oh my god, like it's so loud. Like I kind of like started freaking out. And I went to turn off the TV, and the TV was not turning off. Like, it was just loud static. And I was shocked because my brother was not waking up. He's in the bunk bed that's like 12 feet away. I'm like, yo, the static's loud as shit. And I remember that I muted the volume. So it's just static on the TV, which is still pretty spooky as a kid, because it's just a lot of like vibrant colors like coming at you. Not vibrant, I guess, but like colors coming at you.
Yeah.
And I started hearing footsteps coming up the stairs to the attic. Like very like low, just like creak. Like creak. And first thing I did as a kid is I had a blanket with me, because I'd like kind of chill with the blanket on top of me while gaming. Is like I put over my head, like kind of went into caterpillar mode, like a cocoon, right? Like, and like I heard like
this.
creak, 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 and like I put like enough of like just like a breathing hole and like to look, and there was nothing at the stairs. At the top of the stairs, I heard the last creak of the step. There was nothing there, and I was like just staring at it, like just staring at it. And I remember like I felt like almost like someone like just kind of like put like their arms like against me, like just like a little bit of weight like kind of go against the blankets. I was like, starting to get like sunk into the sofa. And I was like, Mom? And I started like screaming, like, Mom, like, Mom, Mom. And I started like yelling it. And my brother wasn't waking up, which made things worse because I'm like, am I the only one like who can do this? And like, my parents are asleep on the main floor on the opposite side of this massive house.
Oh, dude.
So like, they're not going to hear me regardless of what I'm screaming, which is also a bad idea as a kid. And I remember sleeping on the sofa after playing Crash Bandicoot. They're just like freaking the fuck out. I like put over my head, and the worst, like the part that really made it weird was like I almost felt like I covered every breathing hole, everything possible. I just didn't want to see what I was handling. I'm like, yo, if I don't see it, it doesn't exist. Is that typically when you do that, you get insulated. It's very warm in like this cocoon, right? I was freezing. I felt like something was like breathing into it, where like it was like inflating it with like cold air, and I was like, it just made it worse. Like no matter what I was doing, it was worse. And my brother was 12 feet away. I'm like, yo, what if I just run to the bunk bed and like just run to bed and I'll be fine. But I was like, yo, like I was like petrified almost. I'm like, yo, I can't, like I can't move. And I remember waking up, like I went to bed, I fell asleep in like that position, and I woke up and the screen was like black and white, but it's almost like a skull in the middle of the screen, like kind of like made like a pattern of a skull. And I was like, no, like I can't do this. Like I like turn off the TV. Never ever did I go to sleep last ever again. Like when my brother was like, yo, I'm done gaming, I'm going to bed. I'm like, oh, me too. Actually, like I'll also hit the bed.
Yeah, what a coincidence. I'm also tired.
Yeah.
It's funny that you say though, like how you contemplated running to the bed. When you're terrified, that 12 feet is a mile away, man.
It's a yeah, easily.
Yeah, it's the longest you'll ever run.
It's exactly like no, you're way too vulnerable. I feel you on that. Like 12 feet's too far. Nope.
Yeah. Nope. And especially as a kid, like you feel like something is literally just like getting ready. Like, yo, you move once and I know you exist. Even though like you obviously know, like it's all in your head, right? Like, you're like freaking out. It just happens to be coincidence. The house is creaking a certain way near you, or not. I mean, paranormal activity or not, right? So, damn, dude. Like, I was like freaked the fuck. That was like probably like the third worst experience I had of like paranormal things.